Hello and welcome back to the Film Club, the club where we talk about films that we've been watching recently, we've been enjoying. Let me know in the comments what you've been watching recently, what you've been loving, what you've been hating, what your thoughts are. If you've got any recommendations for me, leave them in the comments below. I have always absolutely adored Studio Ghibli films ever since I watched Spirited Away. They just have like magic to them. There's something warm about these films. I don't know how else to describe it other than there's nostalgia without there even having nostalgia for it. I'd never watched Howl's Moving Castle until recently, and yet watching it, it feels like something I've seen before. It feels nostalgic. It feels like a warm hug. When you see them photos or videos of like an old cobbled street and it's raining and it looks cozy, you're inside with a warm fire. That's what Studio Ghibli films feel like to me. I don't know how they do it, but every time I've watched one of these films, they do it. And I've not watched a bunch of them. Spirited Away was the first one I watched, which I just absolutely adore. Howl's Moving Castle has been on my watch list for a very long time, and I finally watched it the other day, and yeah, I loved it so much. With every Studio Ghibli film, the soundtrack is just impeccable. It sets the tone, it sets the mood. I feel like the soundtrack, if anything, is what shines through of all these films for me. It's just stunning to listen to. I've listened to it after I've seen the film, and it's just perfect. It gives the same feel of warmth as the film does, only in audio. Howl's Moving Castle is such a genuinely lovely story. There's nothing too overly deep about it, and yet they have such a way with storytelling in which you care about every single character, you love every single character, you want all of these people to succeed, and it does such a good job of fleshing out these worlds. If you try to explain this world to someone, it would be quite hard, and if you wanted to do a world like this, typically you'd need like a trilogy of films or a TV show to explain this giant world. And yet in Studio Ghibli films, especially like this one, Howl's Moving Castle, you just instantly feel at place in this world. It's not confusing. You understand that it's a magical world, and yet there is also things like war going on, which is obviously one of the massive pieces of this film. Howl's Moving Castle follows Sophie, a young girl who works at a hat shop, and she gets turned into an old lady by a witch. She finds herself coming across Howl, who is a magician, and she's taken there by a scarecrow, a moving scarecrow, and we follow the story from there. There's a war taking place in the world, and Howl's got all this drama with that. Sophie wants to help, and she ends up falling in love with Howl, and it's just a really nice story. The ending where like the scarecrow gets turned into a real man again, and there's just so many lovely moments of this film. I just find these so comforting. These are just comfort films. The art style of these is, you can't fault it. It's just stunning. Every frame is beautiful. There are some moments in this film where you could take a frame and put it on the wall and it would look right. It is just art. These films are just masterpieces of animation, and if you've not watched them, I really highly recommend them. There's nothing overly actiony about these films. There's nothing overly comedic about these films, and yet each and every one is just beautiful. If you want just a comfort film to watch, I would just highly recommend Howl's Moving Castle. I can't wait to watch more Studio Ghibli films. I don't know which ones I want to watch, but I just want to watch all of them. But anyway, that is all from me. If you've seen this film before, then let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Did you love it or did you hate it? And I'll see you next time on the Film Club.